All right. All right. We are
We
now.
back? All right. Welcome back,
Yeah.
me, to another edition of Live Feed Reed. Obviously,
That's
I'm
right.
Paul Reed, your host, the Ed McMahon to my Johnny Carson,
That's right.
Jason Crawford. Here's a little rarity. We're both appearing live
Yay,
from our
yay.
homes. Now, Jason always appears live from his home, but normally I'm at the office. But it's a beautiful day, and I figured I'll just stay here and
Be nice.
chill out. All right. So I hope everybody had a good week. Happy Mother's
Oof.
Day right off the bat,
Yeah.
because I'll forget. Mom, happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out
That's
there.
right.
Happy Mother's Day. Hope you get some flowers, chocolate candies, some sweet loving, or whatever it is your
Yep.
little heart desires. So let's jump into today's topic. It was pretty good because literally yesterday I had it's called an attorney's
Okay.
fee hearing. And you think, well, that seems unusual. Doesn't that
Mm.
happen all the time? And the answer is
Mm.
absolutely not, especially in personal injury. Let me real briefly, there's only two ways to get attorney's fees in a civil case. One is if your contract allows for it, and we may have discussed with
It's okay.
this, we may not, if your
Mhm.
contract allows for it, or if there's a statute. Example, Jason and I contract for him to do my internet,
Sure.
whatever it is. And I pay him $1,000 and he doesn't do it. And in our contract, it says if you have to go to court, the loser
There
has
you
to
go.
pay attorney's fees. All right. So some contracts or a lot of contracts have that provision. Some
Right.
contracts don't. And think about it. And remember, if you're dealing with a sketch
Mm-hmm.
business that may be not so up and up, they may not have that in their contract because they're going to
Yeah.
screw you
Or
and then
not
you
so
can't get fees.
experienced.
So
Yes.
either way, or statute.
Mm.
One of the example statutes is what we're going to talk about in these lawsuits, personal injury lawsuits, called a proposal for settlement. And a proposal for settlement is simply once you get into litigation and a little discovery it takes place, so you kind of get to know the facts of the case, the good, the bad, the ugly. You either side can do a proposal for settlement, which is a fancy word for make an offer of settlement. So let me give you an example. We're 3 or 4 months into it, and Jason and I are he's a defendant, I'm a plaintiff in a car crash, and I sue him, and we're kind of
Mm-hmm.
done some discovery, and Jason's lawyer says, all right, we think this case is worth $10,000. So they make a formal proposal for settlement. It's a
Mm-hmm.
pleading and so forth, and either I accept it or I don't accept it and reject it and say, no,
Gotcha.
let's go to trial. All right. What that proposal for settlement does basically is if it's not accepted and we go to trial, I've got to basically come within 25% of that proposal. So if it's $10,000, at the end of the day, the judgment entered has to be $7,500 or more, 25% of,
Okay.
75% of 10, or I owe Jason's attorney's fees.
Okay.
So it's just really, and then vice versa. I can do one to Jason, say I want 100,000, and if they turn it down and I get 200,000, 1.25%. Don't
Yeah.
get caught
Yeah.
up in the math.
Yeah.
Then he
Okay.
has to pay my fees. So it's really just a way to get attorney's fees in a personal injury case. That's all. Because obviously, when Jason rear-ended me on Del Mabry, we didn't enter
Right.
into a contract, right?
Okay.
Okay, so this case, I don't know if this case made the book as a hairball,
All right.
but it could have. Back and I think we talked about it, and I think we even showed a video clip of the defendant because these were friends of mine or became friends of mine after I met him and decided to take their case. He's the one that
Yes.
rammed the gate.
Yes.
Remember that
Absolutely.
guy
Yeah.
that started in
Yeah.
2018 and went all the way to trial in
Right. Okay.
2024. All right. And the plaintiff sued, I know, and an
Right.
appeal.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
and
right.
an appeal. So this case had it all, which is
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
no
classic
bueno.
check all the
Because
boxes.
remember, I took
Mhm.
this case for
Yep.
free.
I remember that.
Now, we go to trial, and the wife won.
Yes.
The wife won, and so a judgment entered for her was zero. And so I had done a proposal for settlement way back when. I mean, years and
Right.
years and years ago
Right.
for $1. For $1. I knew we were going to win. That's how confident I was. So we won, right? So then, okay, the judgment is entered for 0. So the next thing you do is you file a pleading with the court that says, based on my proposal for settlement, I feel my client's entitled to fees. Well, the other side, whether it be defense or in this case plaintiff's attorneys, they always argue. They say, oh, you did something wrong, you didn't put this in, you didn't put that in, or whatever, because if the verbiage is not specific, then it's ambiguous and you don't get fees. And that happens a lot.
Okay.
I don't know why, because the statute tells you what to say. So my proposal for settlement says, number 1, name the plaintiff. Boom. And it tells number 2, name the defendant. Boom. Number 3, name who the proposal's for. Number 4, name the amount of the proposal. Number 5, name whether attorney's fees are included. And so if you just, I list the question and then the answer. So either way, he argued that it was not valid, but he lost. That's the first step. Jeez. Okay. The next step then is to have a fee hearing, meaning, which is months later, because this is how backed up things are. You have a fee hearing where I have to bring in an expert, i.e. an attorney that specializes in personal injury, that's, done this for a while, that can testify, number 1, what's the average attorney fee for people in the community with basically my skills, education, training, and things of that nature. Right? So you ask him a few questions. Hey, what's your name? What give the judge your experience? Have you had an opportunity to review the file? Have you opportunity to review my time, Mr. Reed's my timesheet, and so forth and so on. And he's yes, and here's this and here's that. So we went through all of that. Okay. Oh, let me back up. Because the judge was shocked. My expert Joey was shocked. I wasn't shocked because this is the modus operandi of defendant's attorney. He didn't show up. The plaintiff's attorney, I'm sorry.
Okay.
He didn't show up. So the judge is like, Mr. Reed, where's Mr. So-and-so? Your Honor, this has been what's going on for years now. Years. I said, in fact, there were 2 notices to dismiss for lack of prosecution, meaning a year went by with nothing happening. So the court can just kick your case to the curb. So either way, she calls him. He don't answer.
Okay.
So she goes, Mr. Reed, what do you like to do? I said, Your Honor, I'd like to get this over with. It's been, we're like talking 5, 6, 7 or 8 years. Yeah. And so we went through the motions. Now, mind you, I had a dilemma, Jason. I had a little dilemma. Way back when in 2018, $300 an hour seemed like a lot of money.
Yeah.
Per hour.
Yeah.
It did. So we entered into a contract with the Heidi and Scott for that amount, even though they really didn't have to pay me. And there's reasons that I don't want to take up all this this podcast for, but there's reasons why, and we did it. So I was going through the file, reviewing before the hearing, because literally I was going to have Jason say somewhere between $750 an hour and $1,000. And that is kind of the going rate now for someone of 28 years in the year 2025
on an hourly,
and so forth and so on. It's not. It's good money.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't. I said, you know what, Your Honor, I got to be honest. Even though the hourly rate, I'm assuming Jason's going to say is somewhere between $750 and $1,000 an hour. I'm not asking for that because I entered into a contract. It's $300 an hour, and I'll live with it. Because really collecting from this Yahoo is probably not going to happen. And I got to be honest, the judges look for reasons, just like the appellate court that we've talked about, not to give you money.
Yeah.
Especially your TV lawyers like myself. No offense to anybody, but they just, they don't want to. They don't want to give you money, and so fair. She's very nice, and she did what she did, and so either way, we do the hearing, and at the end of the day, I got about $23,000 in attorney's fees and about $1,800 in litigation
Cool.
costs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't the math
Yeah.
major. Now, mind you, if I hadn't, and I'm telling you, when I went back, dude, that's the
Yeah.
least amount any attorney
Yeah.
has ever asked
Yeah.
for
Yeah. And for
in the case,
6 years
with
of work, and
a
this guy
trial.
was
Yeah, dude, the most
yeah.
would have been $2 or $3 million,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because this
Yeah.
guy
And
was drilling you back and
either
forth. I'm
way,
sure you spent copious amounts of time on this. I'm sure that you were like made it at least that
right.
much.
But here, now let me tell you, and
Yeah.
this is the difference between defense and plaintiffs. The defense, when everything they do, they have a computer program that they go and
Yeah.
log it
Okay.
in. Reviewed this, called this,
Okay.
emailed that, on and on and on. Well, plaintiff's attorney, I get paid 33 and a third percent pre-suit and 40% in
Okay.
litigation, right? Thank God I don't have to do that. So I don't. I mean, it would be a nightmare
Yeah.
to have to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's called billable hours. And you know, whether I spend 10 minutes and settle a case for 100 grand by picking up the
Yeah.
phone, or in this case, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, you just don't keep those records. So I had to go back and recreate the
Yeah.
wheel, and it was
Yeah. I
just a
bet.
nightmare. So what I put in there was just bare bones, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes,
Mhm.
because it was
Yeah.
over and over. It took me hours, and I
Jeez.
was, by the end of it, I was just sick
Of
and tired
course.
of it, right?
Yeah.
So either way, here's the kicker. Mr. Plaintiff, first off, he doesn't know his lawyer didn't show up. Number two, he doesn't know now he owes my client
Attorney fees. Yeah.
$25,000. He's gonna poop a brick.
Oh, wait. Okay, so this is just an update.
Oh, this happened yesterday.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, this just happened yesterday. And back to what I had said, how unusual
Oh
it is
man.
for this to happen. Is I think this is maybe my fourth or fifth time having to do a fee hearing to get
Okay.
fees, because it
Yeah.
doesn't happen often, where we call it, from the plaintiff side, beating the proposal for
Mm.
settlement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's well.
And so anyway, I can tell you, there's probably, you know, I'm going to guess, but I bet there's not 1% of lawyers in Florida that have had the pleasure of beating a proposal for settlement and having a fee hearing and getting
Yeah, wow.
fees that way.
Yeah.
And I kid you not. That's a speculation for the Florida bar, an opinion, but I can
Yeah.
just tell you, it's rare
That's wild.
to do. And bam,
Nice.
yesterday we did it. Now, yeah, it was, because this guy, he's not a nice human being.
For those who are maybe
He's just
seeing
not.
this video for the first time, we've covered this maybe twice or maybe a third time, this case. And this
Yes.
person has been a fun ride. Let me just put it that way. From the beginning, introducing it, to the amount of content, the unbelievable actions taken, the absolute weird positions on things you could even take on something, to then being a staunch stick in the mud to resist what's obvious to everyone. It's just been it's been glorious to say the least, to kind of watch justice get served. But man,
No, Jason, I
yeah,
couldn't agree more. You know, just, you know, to watch, for someone to get what
yes,
they deserve. Because
yes,
remember, this case started when the
Mhm.
plaintiff did brutal, disgusting,
Yep.
vulgar
Yep.
road rage against my client, who's a very nice
Yeah,
lady.
yeah,
And again,
yeah,
I'm not going to get the
yep,
things he
yeah.
said, did there in the middle of the street. And you know, the husband, I got news for you, ramming his gate, I would have ran my fist down his throat.
Yeah,
Yeah. But either way, so anyway, so here's now collecting is
yeah,
the hard part, right?
yes,
Because, you know, number one, he could file bankruptcy, but I don't know if he will, but he could, and there goes
yeah.
your 25 grand. If not, you know,
Is that the only way out?
normally you don't want, normally you don't, no, you file bankruptcy or just dodge, keep your money, you know, don't put money in a bank and this, that, and the other. my guy, I got a guy, Josh, who I'm going to tell him, Josh, take his truck, take his clothes, take his couch, take his TV, take his dog. That's how bad this guy is.
Yeah, yeah,
Normally
yeah.
you wouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't want your clothes. I don't want your car. I don't want this. I don't want that. But this guy here, he deserves to walk around in his
Wow.
freaking underwear.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, based
Yeah.
off of what we discussed, I would have to agree with you. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So anyway, there's and I've said this before. Maybe people don't believe it. I do.
yeah, she
Karma's a
is.
bitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And if you don't believe in it, that's fine.
You don't
I can tell you, I have witnessed it and experienced
you don't
it
want to get on our bad
myself.
side. That's for sure. I do have a question for you.
All
So,
right. Yeah,
everything that
shoot.
you've
Go
just
ahead.
discussed, can
Mhm.
it be something that a person who represents themselves experiences in terms of attorney's fees and trying to find that? You talked about experience and time and things like that. Do
Um,
you ever find yourself, or would you ever find yourself, if you're representing yourself, not you, but like me? So you're an attorney. Obviously, if you represent yourself, you could end up
right.
there. But like someone,
Could you get
there you
attorney's
go.
fees?
Okay,
No.
that was question one.
Number one. Number two, you probably wouldn't even know what a proposal
Sure.
for
Yeah.
settlement is. And number three, you probably
That's
wouldn't
right.
do it
Yeah.
right. Uh, but that having been said, the law
Mm.
is even, and that's a
Mhm.
good question because sometimes people like myself do represent
Yes, right.
themselves,
Yep.
right? And so that issue has come up. The defense or the plaintiffs, whichever is trying to get attorney's fees, say, hey, my argument is, look, Jason's a lawyer, I'm a lawyer. Yes, he represented himself, but he didn't pay
Right.
an attorney. He is an attorney, he didn't pay
Yeah.
himself, right?
Sure.
That's your argument. He doesn't have attorney's fees. Well, the court has said no, he had to, as an attorney, he took
Yeah.
time away from
Mm.
making money to
Interesting.
represent himself. Therefore, he's
Interesting.
entitled to fees. So they've even tried that argument with
Mm.
attorneys who represent themselves. So that's a
Mm.
very good question.
Good.
Yeah, good question. But, and I got to be honest, I've never seen a case in 28 years where someone represented themselves who was an attorney,
Mm.
was not an attorney, I mean, and that issue made it to the appellate
Okay.
court.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you about 99.99999
Yeah.
and 999% of the time, if you represent
It's
yourself, you're
yeah.
going to
Yeah.
lose.
Yeah, because there's so
And I
much.
can't say for criminal law, I can't say
Yeah.
criminal
There's
law,
so
but
much to
but
the game.
in personal injury civil law,
There's so
yeah, I don't
many
recommend it.
nuances to the rules and having to do this and then that proper order and in that posture and say this and like there's so much. There's so
Yeah,
much.
one slip of the
Yeah.
tongue, judge kicks your
Even
case
for
out of court.
attorneys who are inexperienced. Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
hey, dude, in
yeah.
my opinion, Mr. Plaintiff's attorney, A, if I'm Mr. Plaintiff, I'd say, Mr. Plaintiff's attorney, you weren't at the hearing, you pay my 25 grand.
Oh, valid.
That's that's the first thing I'd
Mm.
say. And if you say no, Mr. Attorney, plaintiff's attorney, then well, the Florida bar is going to come knocking
Mm.
and wonder why you missed a very important hearing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oof.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. Ah. That stuff is just
Yeah.
wild.
So what I'm
Mhm.
going to do, what I'm going to do is, and I just thought of this, that was a very good question, spurred me. When I get the judgment against Mr. Plaintiff, I'm going to send it to Mr. Plaintiff's attorney and say, you should probably pay this for your client because you missed the hearing, and it's malpractice, and I might even, that's
Oh,
a good,
dude.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
write this
won't bill
down.
you for
I
this. Don't
might
worry about
even,
it.
yeah, no, I'm gonna get Mr. Plaintiff to assign his judgment to me, and then my client will go after
Oh.
Mr. Plaintiff's lawyer. Hold on a
Yeah.
second, people. And well, TV
Yeah,
land, I got a short memory, but
We'll go.
yeah, let's
It's a
get
good
out
one
of
to
here
end
because
on.
Jason, you got the hair on the back of my neck standing up.
Whoa.
All right, well
Yep.
let's get out of here. I'm going to call Michelle, call
You
her
got
in
it.
here and write it down. All right, so
Yes.
happy Mother's Day. Tell
I
Crystal
will.
happy
Thank
Mother's
you.
Day.
Yes.
Tell her we love her.
I will.
Keep up the good work. Jason, if you don't know it, I don't know if Jason's Catholic, but he's got enough kids you'd think he was.
Hey, in the homeschool world, I just have the starter kit, man.
Yeah. And hey, congratulations to Pope Leo, an American Pope. Dude, I don't know how long the Catholic Church been around, 500 million years. We've never had an American Pope.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. All right, well, take us out there, Mr. Crawford.
Reed and Reed, it's like having a lawyer in the family.